I'm Anton.
My name is Hiromitsu Okada. I'm in the 4th grade. I've always had really thick body hair, and it has always been a complex of mine from when I was young. I'm pretty much the only person with this kind of thick hair. I knew for a fact that everyone found out about it. They would all just think I'm disgusting. No matter how hot it was outside, I always wore long sleeves and long pants. I also avoided going to pool classes. I hid the fact that I was a very hairy person at school. Then, one day, I saw that my mom was putting some kind of machine on her arm. Hey, Mom, what is that? Oh, this is called an epilator. It's meant to remove hair from your body. It gets rid of hair. Apparently, it was a machine that you shine light onto, and it would burn the hair off. After hearing that, I almost tripped over running toward her to ask her about it. Can you please lend it to me too? I don't want to have this much freaking hair on my body anymore. Huh? You want me to lend it to you? I want to be all squeaky clean too. I don't like this kind of freaking hair. I was completely over having this much hair on my body, so I begged my mom to let me use the epilator for myself, but...
That's very unmanly of you, Hiromitsu.
Dad? My dad, who was messing with his phone the whole time, decided to butt into the conversation I was having with my mom.
Look here, Hiromitsu, when you've got all that hair like that, it means that you're chock full of male hormones. Male hormones, you get me? Man hormones! That's so badass. If you're a man, you just shut up and let that hair grow out.
Dad was apparently completely against me trimming my hair. He suddenly started lecturing me out of the blue. But Dad, a lot of girls don't like men who are super manly anymore. They like men who are gender neutral. It's so much better to not have any hair at all.
What? Yeah, you shouldn't be messing with women like that anyway. Good women worth anything like hairy men. Isn't that right, honey? You like my hair, don't you?
No,
See?
What do you mean, see? Mom didn't seem to agree with what he was saying at all. The next day, Mom, where did all my clothes go? I've only got shorts and tank tops. I was going to get changed to go to school, but all of my long pants and long sleeve shirts had disappeared. Huh? I don't know what happened to them.
I threw them out.
What?
I said I threw away all of your long sleeve shirts and long pants too.
Then, my dad, who was reading the newspaper, suddenly started saying something insane. Why would you do that? If I don't have that? If I don't have that? Ugh.
Look, Hiromitsu, you need to be so much more confident in yourself.
Ugh.
I told you yesterday, but men are just so much more attractive when they've got thicker hair. Hair is just a symbol of manliness, got it? And besides, the most important part about being a man is right here. You remember that, right?
He gently tapped my chest after telling me that. Dad.
Look, Hiromitsu, you make sure to be proud of what you have on your body. You've got nothing to be ashamed of. You don't hide any of that awesome hair that you've got. You be confident. You are the coolest guy around with all of that freaking thick hair.
Okay, Dad. I decided to try to trust what my dad was saying. Then, that day, for the first time in my life, I went to school in shorts and a tank top. I wonder how everyone is going to react to me. I've never showed my hair on my arms and legs to my classmates before. Of course, I was a little bit scared, but I've got the thickest hair in the school, so I'm the coolest one around. I made up my mind and walked into class. Good morning, everyone. Then, everyone in class turned around to look at me, and the whole class was now laughing at me. What the heck is that freaking hair in your body, man? Huh? Dude, your arms and legs are so freaking hairy. You look like you're some kind of old guy. You're like a monkey or something.
What are you supposed to be, a caterpillar?
The teacher, too? I started to feel dizzy after seeing everyone react to my hair. It's so much cooler if I'm hairy, right? Heck no! Not at all. Nowadays, all the men have to be all clean without any hair, too. I didn't realize that you were so freaking hairy like that, Hiromitsu. You look really freaking dirty.
Come on, man, you're in the 4th grade, Hiromitsu. You can't be like that.
But I want to crawl into a hole and never come out. The result of me listening to my father made me the butt of everyone's jokes in class. And on top of that, I wasn't able to hide my hair for the rest of the day either. After class, I was quietly crying to myself without anyone noticing. It's all Dad's fault. I hated everything. How my dad was unaware of how things are, the fact that I believed that stupid dad, and more than anything, the fact that I was cursed with these genes. Is something wrong, Hiromitsu? You look like you're upset. It's nothing. Normally, I would go for seconds for curry, but I just couldn't bring myself to eat that day. I decided that I would modify my mom's epilator and try to make it even stronger than before. If Dad is completely bald and hairless, then he'll start to get popular with girls, and he'll realize that people without hair is just cooler. Which is why I decided that I would get rid of my dad's hair all at once. That way, I would have him realize how silly and ridiculous his way of thinking was. From what I found on the internet, it seemed that the power of an epilator was determined by how many condensers were in the machine, which made the light brighter. Which means that if there are more condensers, the power is going to be a lot stronger as well. I was really good with science, so I was always pretty freaking good at messing with machines like this. It's done. A week after working on things, I added 400 extra condensers to my mom's epilator. It was so that I would finish up my dad's hair removal process in the blink of an eye. A regular old epilator that you'd find at a regular house had about 20 joules of energy. However, this modified epilator would have an output of over 100 times that, at around 200 joules of energy. It was stronger than some high-powered pistols. If I've got this much energy here, then Dad's hair will be blown away in an instant. That night, I snuck into my dad and mom's bedroom and... Dad, you don't understand at all. It's so much better to be without any hair nowadays. I aimed the epilator towards my dad's slouched over arm while he was sprawled out on the bed. Then, here we go, Dad. 3, 2, 1.
Huh?
Dad snapped up right before I pulled the trigger.
Hiromitsu? What are you doing here in the middle of the night?
But I didn't stop.
Huh?
I pulled the trigger in the epilator. Right at that next moment,
Ah!
there was a bright flash that almost blinded me, along with a loud crack that almost sounded like lightning that shot through the room. Ah! Ugh! I went flying backwards from the immense pressure that was put out from the epilator. I can't believe there's this much power behind it. Crap! I broke it! Mom's epilator couldn't withstand the immense output and broke in one click. What do I do? Mom is going to chew me out like crazy.
Huh?
Huh? Looking over at my dad, he had passed out after taking that massive shock of energy from the epilator. It also kind of smelled burnt. Dad? Dad! I realized that the location I had shot the epilator onto had practically melted off down to the muscle. What happened to his arm? Mom! Dad is... Mom, who was asleep up until a second ago, snapped awake. Honey, what's going on? What happened? Then, right at that moment... Huh? We realized that the futon was now on fire. Ah! The epilator had so much power that the high heat caused a spark and set fire to the futon. What the hell have you done? Then the fire then jumped to the curtains, and before I knew it, it was spreading so far and wide throughout the house. We just need to get out of here. Honey! Honey! But it seemed like Dad had fallen into some kind of coma. He's so heavy. Hey, help me out of here. Yeah. On three. We tried our best to pull Dad up and out of the bedroom, was quickly turning into a inferno. Mom! This time my mom had inhaled the smoke from the flames and passed out. The flames continued to spread and burn through the room. Mom! Mom! What do I do? It wasn't supposed to be like this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I just wanted Dad to be less hairy. I just wanted him to go bald in his arm. But now all of this is happening, and right at that moment. Huh? The shelf that was burning up had started to collapse. Right toward me. Ah! Right at the next moment. What's going on? I woke up in a room that was completely unfamiliar with. Why am I alive? Hiromitsu! Thank God. Oh, thank God. Mom? In front of me was my mom and a doctor. Apparently, I was carried to a hospital after that. Mom, what happened to us? I didn't understand what had happened to me after that whole situation at all. How did I get rescued from that fire?
Your father saved you.
Dad? I turned to the bed next to me and I saw my dad, completely beat up and burned. Dad!
He's pretty beat up, but he used the loss of his energy to protect you and your mother from the fire.
I slowly began to remember what had happened that night to me. Dad! The whole reason that everything was happening was because of me, but my dad protected me anyway.
He was burned severely for the massive amounts of jaw oils pumped into his arm. Your father had severe tissue damage because of the electricity that passed through his arm.
It's all my fault.
Not only the dermis, but the nerves and blood vessels were also severely burned and affected. All of the subcutaneous tissue, muscles, vasculature, nerves, they were all severely damaged. He had what was called a Lichtenberg scarring through his body. Ah! He really shouldn't have been able to stay conscious with how much pain and damage his body experienced, but
my dad carried my mother and I straight out of the fire.
This is truly what we mean when we say fight or flight. Your father was working strictly off of primal instinct.
My father was still completely unconscious when he carried us out of the fire.
Oh my God, it's a fire!
The neighbors had called the fire department about the fire, so by then, the fire trucks had shown up. But by then, the house was engulfed in flames.
My family. I have to protect my family!
My dad was still unconscious, just woke off his primal instinct to save us from the fire. He was running around trying to find a way out of the building. However, my father had already reached his absolute physical and mental limit. He collapsed at the front entrance. Dad! Dad! Wake up, Dad! Then, right at that moment...
Are you okay?
A man that was passing by came inside the house to help us. That was the reason that we were still alive. What have I done? The whole situation was brought out because of my own complex for having too much hair. Right at that moment...
Honey, Hiromitsu?
Honey... Dad! Dad finally woke up and came to.
I see,
I'm so sorry, Dad.
That's right. And what was that machine that you fired off into me?
It was Mom's epilator.
Huh?
I told my dad and Mom exactly what had happened and how this whole series of events happened. I told them about how I had modified the epilator to try to make Dad completely bald. Then my dad... Ow! He smacked me hard in my head. Harder than I've ever been hit before.
Swear to me. Swear to me that you will never do anything like that ever again! Do you realize the amount of problems and trouble you cause to those around you because of your actions?
It was the first time I've ever seen my dad truly angry at me. It was like he had crawled out of hell itself to scold me. I swear, I sincerely repented for what I had done.
However, I'm so glad that all of you are okay and alive.
Honey, Dad grabbed me and my mom and held us tightly. He was truly just glad from the bottom of his heart that we were alive and safe. Dad. Afterwards, it seemed like the house's insurance would cover all the damages, so while it was being repaired, we would be living in a cheap apartment. I stopped caring about my hair at all after that.
I'm sorry too, Hiromitsu. I should have been more considerate of your feelings.
It's okay. It was all okay because I made up my mind that I would be a real cool guy, like my dad.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Come back again for more, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.